previously.
Something is wrong. I sense no one on board. This place has been hit by assassins of a different sort.
We're still experiencing a problem with the communications array, and now maintenance is telling me there's a cascade failure in the weapons.
Sir, I just picked up an unusual sound from MedLab.
I have come for the Jedi. I came to warn you, Jedi. You know not what path you walk.
This battle is mine alone. I am not defenseless.
What's wrong? Are you all right? If she's in pain, then that pain's buying us time we can't afford to waste. We've got company. All right, let's get out of here. Well, now that we just killed a planet, maybe one of you can tell me what's going on. Because between assassin droids, a Sith Lord that looks like he sleeps with vibroblades, and being target practice for a Republic warship, I was better off in my cell.
The Republic warship was the Harbinger. It was seized on its way to Telos by the Sith. They sought you, Jedi, because you are the last of the Jedi. Once you are dead, then they have won.
But she was exiled by the Jedi, and even with that fact aside, her Force sensitivity only reawakened recently. There's little to warrant the Sith would consider her to be the last of the Jedi.
The Sith believe you to be a Jedi Knight, and that is all that matters. The Jedi Academy on Dantooine is nothing more than a crater that echoes with the ghosts of dead Jedi. And the Jedi Temple on Coruscant lies empty. The waters in the Room of 1,000 Fountains have fallen still in reverence to the fallen Jedi and those now lost.
What course of action remains for the last of the Jedi? If she is to face the Sith and stop them, how would such a task be accomplished by a single individual?
That is not an easy question to answer. This threat is greater than you know, and I do not believe it is a battle that can be fought. We cannot hope to triumph against them alone. To stop them you will need weapons, allies, and a teacher. In the end, I fear it may not be enough. You fought in the Mandalorian Wars, and it cost you everything. Are you willing to sacrifice as much again?
Either Surik faces this threat, or the galaxy will fall. There is no choice but to fight.
You are not listening to me. This is not like any field of battle you have ever fought in. Think carefully on your choice. If you choose to fight, if you choose war, it is a path few turn from once the first steps are taken. It carries with it a terrible price. And in the end, you may find you have nothing left to sacrifice. You have much to learn. Telos, all our paths seem to lead us there. Perhaps there, if you are willing, I can train you, help you to survive a while longer.
Not like we have much of a choice, the Paragus astrogation charts being what they are.
It is where we must go, and where the Harbinger was bound before our unfortunate encounter on Paragus. But we have spoken long enough, and my wound pains me. If you have other questions, find me in the crew quarters. There we will speak more.
Hey, don't stop your long, boring rants on my account. I was just getting sleepy-eyed.
Also in private, we will be mercifully free from the opinions of imbeciles and fools.
Allowing Kreia a brief reprieve from the conversation, Surik decides to explore the vessel. T3 is already preoccupied with maintenance tasks. At a later point, they will have to have a chat about what transpired in the days leading up to Paragus. Upon further exploration, she quickly notices a sealed door. According to ship schematics, this door belongs to a small cargo compartment. This HK unit appears to be broken. Nonetheless, taking careful steps in examining it, it becomes evident that this is not an HK-50 unit. Based on the color and the state of its components, this droid likely has many stories to share. Given her knowledge of droid parts, she should be able to repair it with minimal casualties. That is, if she can find the parts. though it's more than likely the HK-50 unit she encountered on Peragus won't be the last one she comes across. As Surik explores the rest of the ship, she finds many marks of repairs, indicating the Ebon Hawk was indeed in critical condition when it reached Peragus. The most important component, the hyperdrive, is stable. The garage area also carries marks of repairs and reinforcement. Here she finds a fully functional and relatively stocked workbench. There are 2 crew dormitories, one of which is currently occupied by Kreia. It is clear this vessel has everything needed for the journey ahead, especially if they find allies along the way. She cannot help but think of others who previously occupied these dormitories and walked these corridors. If she could still feel the Force as strongly as before, would she have perhaps felt the echoes of their passing? It is of little consequence now. The final stop, Surik finds the cargo hold, which, apart from holding enough space to house several speeders, has only a single item compartment. Here she will lay down her weapons for now. To her surprise, the compartment contains several items stashed away, including a Jedi robe. It has been some time. Once a common sight in the galaxy, how many individuals are left to wear the traditional clothing of the Jedi Order? Not just yet, she concludes, returning the robe to its place. There's much to process, much to think about.
Have you come for more answers? There is little more left to give.
When Kreia's hand was severed, Surik felt it vividly, as if it were her own.
That does not surprise me, any more than you hearing my thoughts when we were apart. The pain, however, was unexpected. If I could, I would have shielded you from it. This wound is a physical thing and will fade with time. It was necessary. Some things may only be learned from sacrifice. When battle is upon us, I suspect our minds are prepared enough to shield each other from the pain. I think we shall not have a repeat incident of what happened at Peragus.
Perhaps, but they may not know for certain what the consequences of this bond will be. Pain may be blocked to an extent, but evidently that was not the case for severe injuries. And in case of fatal ones, the consequences would perhaps be more extreme.
Possibly, yes, and I fear it works both ways. I would not wish to test it, nor should you.
But how could such a bond have formed?
I confess its nature eludes me as well, but the bond is strong, and its roots run deep. It seems that at times of stress and pain, if they catch us unawares, then the pain is transmitted between us. It seems the Force flows easily between us. When one of us manipulates the Force to heal or strengthen ourselves, the other is aided as well. A powerful technique indeed, though, as we have noticed, it has its drawbacks.
The bond seemingly formed on Peragus, when Surik finally heard the Force again after many years. Although it had felt distant, like a whisper, at the very edge of hearing.
If my suspicions are correct, perhaps the damage the Jedi Council did was not as permanent as they thought. It is not an easy thing to cut one off from the Force.
The Jedi?
What did you believe? That you suddenly lost your connection with the Force without reason?
Surik does not recall how or why her connection to the Force was severed. After the Mandalorian Wars, after her exile, she merely recalls the connection being absent.
It is much like losing one's ability to listen or being put into a deep sleep, unable to awaken to the galaxy around you. Such a thing has been done before, when Jedi have pronounced sentence on their own and exiled them as they did you.
The events of Malachor 5 are a blur, as was the moment of her exile, a cacophony of images and memories, many of which she'd prefer to forget. But surely the Jedi Order isn't the one to blame.
If not the Jedi, then what did you think was the cause of such a loss?
Many possibilities come to mind. Perhaps the war itself, the choices she had made, somehow distanced her from it.
War leaves many scars, but rarely does it blind one to the Force. If anything, conflict and challenge may make the connection stronger, more intense. No matter what horrors you experienced in the war, no matter who you served, it is unlikely that the Force would be lost to you unless another factor was involved.
Another factor? One such factor could be the Jedi Masters. If they did do it, perhaps the act of severing the Force affected her memories. And if not, They at least might know more about what this factor was that severed her connection, or perhaps even restore it.
It is possible that such a thing can be undone. Still, even so, the chances of the Jedi undoing such a thing for a traitor is a slim thing at best, assuming they yet live. If any still live, I doubt the Jedi Masters would even help one such as you. You, who turned your back on them to follow Revan to war, as they aided Revan in the Mandalorian Wars. Do not be a fool. They will not intercede to save a traitor, unless the knowledge saves them as well. Self-preservation is an effective technique to persuade or train the unwilling. If any yet live, where they walk is unknown to me. If we are meant to find them or their teachings, I suspect we shall come across them in our journey. Our link may have had other consequences. Perhaps you can hear the Force again, distantly, through me. If so, then there is hope. I may be able to teach you, train you to feel the Force again. And if you will not allow me to help you, then other Jedi must train you.
But if there are no more Jedi,
then I am your only hope, as you are mine. We are a sad pair, you and I, to defend the galaxy against such a thing. Life never ceases to teach fallen Jedi. It is only when one ceases to listen that we grow still and die. I offer to train you to become strong again, to know the ways of the Force, and to hear the Force sing within you as it once did.
The two are linked. What threatens one threatens the other, and the only way Surik can protect them both is to become stronger. It will be best to keep Kreia close, she decides, and if she has knowledge to impart, Surik will listen.
Then our training shall begin. Whenever I travel with you, I shall impart what I can to you through my words and presence. Our current destination is as good a place as any to begin. The planet Telos, decimated by the Sith during the Jedi Civil War. Before the war, Jedi who failed their training were sent to the fields of Telos to serve the galaxy, not as Jedi Knights, but as farmers and laborers. The destruction of Telos was complete. I doubt any Jedi remain. Yet there may be echoes of their passing. We shall see. Much has happened in the galaxy in your absence, and since the defeat of the Mandalorians at Malachor 5.
Indeed, there's much to discuss. Once they reach Telos and establish the next course of action, some stability, there will be time to focus on galactic history. Of course, there's also the matter of Kreia's personal history to discover, her Force sensitivity and her ties to the Jedi. She will surely have many stories to tell.
Indeed.
Surik and her allies approach the planet Telos. They will not land on its surface, however, as very few ships do. Nearly a decade ago, the planet was bombarded by the former Republic Admiral Sol Karath under orders from Darth Malak. As a result, the surface of Telos was devastated and its atmosphere corrupted, producing toxic chemical rains. After Malak's defeat, in an attempt to inspire a general sense of recovery, the Republic began funding the efforts of an Ithorian herd, which aimed to restore the planet to its former state. As a result, protective restoration zones were raised across the planet to do the work, and the colossal Citadel station was constructed in the orbit of Telos to oversee the progress.
Attention, this is Citadel Station Bay Control, Dock Module 126. Please remain where you are. Lieutenant Dahlgren will arrive shortly to meet you. That is all.
I don't like the sound of that. If they think we caused the explosion... Uh-oh. Here comes the welcoming party. They may not know what happened, so don't blow it.
I'm Lieutenant Gren, Telos Security Force. I'm under orders to take you into custody in regards to the destruction of the Paragas mining facility.
There's not much to say. They cannot prove their innocence or incriminate anyone else. It would be best to let the process run its course until the authorities reach a dead end.
You haven't been formally charged, but you will be placed under house arrest pending the results of our investigation. My men will relieve you of any arms and armor. Please follow me.
Tell me I'm not going to jail again.
These will serve as your quarters for the duration of your house arrest. 2 officers will be stationed outside at all times. We have a ship examining what's left of the Paragus facility now, so your stay might be brief. We'll keep you informed. Let's go.
This isn't good. We've got to get off this station.
We cannot stay in any one place too long, but our path has brought us here for a reason. I must meditate on this. In the meantime, we should rest.
Yeah, you go ahead and meditate. As for me, I could use some sleep.
There is nothing they can do in their current predicament. Attempting to leave while under such strict regulation can only cause trouble. They will do best to rest for a few hours either way.
I've come to inform you that the Telosian government has completed its inspection of what's left of the Paragus facility. It appears that the Harbinger had indeed been present, though it was gone when our ships arrived and was responsible for the station's destruction. Logs recovered from the facility's wreckage indicated that the miners perished as a result of sabotage, which began while you and your companions were either incapacitated or incarcerated. As such, you are to be released from house arrest. However, the Republic is sending its own ship. They have insisted that you remain on station for the duration of their search. The sojourn is already en route, likely not more than a few standard days. Feel free to use these quarters during your stay. Please visit the TSF station in Entertainment Module 081 to complete the necessary paperwork at the front desk. The Ebon Hawk should be transferred from the impound docks by the time you're free to leave.
Well, now what? We can't just stick around. We need to find a way off the station. Whether it's the Ebon Hawk or some other ship. We could hit Nar Shaddaa, maybe. If you've got people coming after you, it's where you go to get lost in the crowd.
An interesting first choice.
Hey, everyone needs to get lost once in a while. Get away from something, you know? It's no big deal.
Perhaps they could turn to the Republic for help.
The Republic? They can't even properly fund and manage a space station, let alone fight an enemy as cunning and ruthless as the Sith. Even if somebody believed us, the Republic won't be any help. Believe me, I know. Only the Jedi threw the Sith back last time around.
He may be right. But whatever we do, we should move quickly. I feel we came to Telos for a reason, but we may have spent too much time here already. Even if the Harbinger was destroyed at Paragus, more Sith could already be on their way. Still, there is a chance we might learn of other Jedi here on the planet's surface. Jedi who might help us restore your abilities or sever the link between us.
Well, what do you think?
Perhaps they could work their way off the planet by reaching the Ebon Hawk. They're not allowed to leave, but if they can get past security, they might leave the station before they're detected. Surik and her allies proceed to the TSF station to obtain their belongings and the Ebon Hawk.
Welcome to Entertainment Module 081's TSF station. I will call up the appropriate information now. One moment. Searching. One moment. It seems the Ebon Hawk was transferred to Telos' surface instead of an impound dock. However, both the requester and the point of delivery are unknown. In addition, the vessel is not showing up at any government-sanctioned landing site. I would conjecture that it has been stolen, and the TSF records have been illegally accessed and modified.
I knew it! That stupid T3 unit stole our ship. It's probably joyriding through the system right now, laughing at us, laughing at me.
That is unlikely. While your utility droid is not accounted for, numerous satellites track all incoming and outgoing vessels. There is no record of the Ebon Hawk leaving the system.
Wait. You're saying the ship's actually somewhere on Telos' surface? Telos' atmosphere is highly corrosive outside the shielded restoration zones. Where else could someone land safely?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid that's all the information I have for you. Fortunately, your possessions were kept in the armory and were uncompromised. I will open the door for you so that you may retrieve them. You will find them in the security lockers.
It appears they have no way off planet. Lieutenant Grant had noted that the Republic vessel Sojourn was on its way to Citadel Station.
It is currently delayed on a search pattern. I am unable to provide you with an estimated time for its arrival.
By the time the Sojourn arrives, it is more than likely the Sith will find them before any Republic assistance is given.
Beyond waiting in your quarters for further word, I do not know what else to suggest. I am sorry for what has happened, but the situation is beyond me. I cannot legally supply you with another vessel.
They may have to wait for days, or even weeks. Indeed, Atton was correct in his assessment. They must find another way. Surik dives deep into the flow of the station. It will be difficult to get off-world without detection, and even if that were an option, she does not wish to give up the Hawk so easily. She quickly identifies several ways of descending onto the surface of Telos in search of the Hawk. One of such ways proved to be the Ithorians leading the Telos restoration effort. The Ithorian leader, Chodo Habat, offers a way to find the Ebon Hawk. He is willing to provide a simple shuttle without a hyperdrive for her to use to descend to Telos. Once there, she can seek out the engineer responsible for constructing the Telosian shield network. He should be able to localize where the Ebon Hawk landed on the planet. Furthermore, to her surprise, he claims he may attempt to heal her. Chodo Habat says he is Force-sensitive, a priest of his people, and that the echo he felt upon her arrival was not a natural thing. It spoke of a great pain, not of the body, but of the spirit. It is as if she once felt the Force flow through her, then it was torn away, brutally and quickly, the echo coming from the hollows where it once flowed through her. He says that it is a most unusual wound she carries, and if she would permit him to examine her, perhaps he could help restore some of what was lost.
Your speech is filled with maybes, and perhaps. You are bold to make promises of healing while the world under your care burns and dies. You may be able to help, but there is always a price, is there not?
Chodo Habat claims that he and his herd do not wish to see any living thing suffer, but indeed, the life of Telos takes precedence, and they would ask her for a favor, 2 favors to be exact. Ithorians are renowned for their ability to stabilize ecospheres. They seek to bring back life to Telos by creating restoration zones and filling them with wildlife from worlds where it is abundant, such as Onderon and Duxon. However, progress has been challenging. The Ithorians relied on infrastructure droids to plan and manage the project. The Republic originally provided a G0T0 droid intelligence to Citadel Station that would help manage the logistics of the project. However, it vanished some time ago without a trace. Whether it was stolen or destroyed is unknown. At great expense, Chodo's herd has acquired a second, somewhat lesser droid intelligence to take its place. The Republic provided a small escort to accompany the droid, but Surik would provide additional protection regarding this most important matter. If this droid intelligence is lost or damaged, the restoration of Telos would be placed in great jeopardy. The second favor will prove to be more challenging, as it concerns the Zerka Corporation. The Ithorians made some progress on the planet, but seeing potential for profit, the Zerka Corporation joined the restoration effort and gained great influence on Citadel Station. Zerka is powerful, with many lobbyists in the Senate and throughout the galaxy. Using legal loopholes, they exploit the restoration zones to salvage abandoned equipment on the surface of Telos and sell it to the highest bidder, caring little about the delicate balance of the ecosystem. The Ithorians are unable to do anything to stop them. Thus, Chodo Habat asks Surik to perform a few illegal, albeit justified actions to hinder the Zerka Corporation. Given her impartial status, no one would be able to blame the Ithorians, and their efforts would continue. Surik decides to aid the Ithorians. Once the droid is safely escorted to the Ithorian compound, and Zerka's efforts adequately hindered, namely its entire mainframe stolen, containing sufficient evidence to expose Zerka's criminal activities, Chodo Habat makes the necessary arrangements for her shuttle. He also reminds Surik of his offer. Chodo says, when she stood before him, she opened his eyes to a hurt almost as great as the planet's. Yet he can feel that she is slowly regaining what she has lost, and that in time she may fully heal. He does admit, however, that even as the healer of his herd, He has never faced an injury such as this.
Healing a dead planet is one thing, Chodohabat, and healing a Jedi severed from the Force is quite another.
With all due respect, Habat says, he believes she is wrong. In healing a planet, it is a matter of connections. As plants feed animals, and animal populations thrive and grow, life connects and expands, the living web of the Force. And perhaps that connection will help one Meetra Surik feel whole again. Though they describe the restoration as a process, they are, in truth, he says, opening Telos to the Force.
You have already begun to heal, to feel the Force again. If so, then the offer is worthless. You speak well enough, Chodohabat, but perhaps you see all this as your chance to exert your own hold over others.
Surik values Kreia's guidance and wisdom, but she does not sense nor suspect any ulterior motive from this Ithorian. His intentions are pure, and if he wishes to attempt mending and potentially restoring some of what was lost, she will allow it. Very little healing has been achieved, but it is a beginning. Surik walks away from the Ithorians, sensing a change, if not within her connection to the Force, then with her determination for the future. The exile and her allies set off from the Citadel station towards the surface of Telos, to RZ-0031, a Zerka-held restoration zone where the Zabrak engineer was last seen.
Citadel Station, this is Admiral Carth Onasi of the Republic Cruiser Sojourn.
Admiral Onasi? This is Lieutenant Gren, TSF. We've been expecting you.
Gren, it's nice to know that TSF hasn't gone to shambles in my absence.
And how about you? An Admiral? You might change your tune after you see what the situation is like down here, Carth. I've got some bad news for you.
Well, it can't be that bad, Gren. I think Telos has already been through the worst.
The one you came all the way out here to pick up? Well, she managed to escape the station. We're not exactly sure how it happened.
Well, that's unfortunate, but luckily it still fits our plans.
Am I hearing this right?
I'll tell you more when I arrive, but the Republic has decided not to detain the exile and adopt a wait-and-see approach.
The exile? Then...
Like I said, we'll talk more when I arrive.
Looks like we will. I'm uploading the approach vector to you now. See you soon, Admiral.
Good to have you back, General. We survived one spectacular crash. Lucky I was here to pull you and your friends out of that shuttle, or you'd be more than a little crispy. But it's only fair. I owe you more than one, General. The pilot's more or less unharmed, and the old lady, well, she's tougher than she looks.
Beodur, the engineer who served with her in the war. The two didn't share much history, apart from the moments leading up to the annihilation of Malachor.
Don't think too hard. I'd rather not talk about the war, if we could. We all went through some tough times after Malachor, and maybe we all did a little forgetting. Guess that's one thing we've got better than droids. They can't forget anything. But then you give them a memory wipe and they forget for good. We can't all be that lucky. You know, I never thought I'd see you again, General. Galaxy's a big place, and this is the last place I thought I'd bump into you. So I have to ask, just what are you doing here?
Surik briefly shares the details of their journey since Paragus and the theft of the Ebon Hawk, leading up to this unexpected shuttle crash.
Got some news for you, General. That shuttle of yours is done for. Scrap.
Well, this is familiar. Feels like my last time on Telos.
Crashed the shuttle that time, too?
Nope, Pazak.
That was not the most pleasant landing I've endured. Next time we should perhaps seek out a more reputable pilot.
You're welcome, Kreia. You know, if I weren't such a crack pilot, we could have hit the shield wall or one of those rock faces.
Yes, our current situation is a vast improvement.
No one's supposed to be here but a Zerka research team. I can't say they'd be happy to see us, but shooting us down? I can't imagine Zerka having us shot down by a bunch of scientists either.
The Ithorians had mentioned Beodur having tense relations with the Zerka Corporation. Could it be they were the ones who shot the shuttle down?
You know, I caught a glimpse of what looked like an AD tower when we flew over the compound.
Why would a research station have an air defense tower?
Maybe they're doing something they shouldn't be. I've seen pirate bases with the same sort of setup.
The Ithorians suggested Beodur would be able to access the shield grid from one of these compounds.
I can help you find it. I have access to the shield network. I came hoping to repair whatever damage your shuttle took, but not even I can fix that wreck. We'll have to get back to the compound. It's the old Ithorian research station, turned into a salvage team staging area. It won't be an easy hike. If Zerka secure the compound, there could be a lot of them out there. Second, there's all the Canucks. The vicious wide-jaw predators the Ithorians imported from Duxon. They were meant to keep the herbivore population in check.
If they mainly focus on herbivores, they shouldn't be a problem. Unless...
The Canucks ate them all. Now they'll eat anything they can catch, including us. Without the Ithorians to maintain the accelerated ecosystem's balance, everything here is falling apart. Zerka's killing the Restoration Project piecemeal.
Indeed, Zerk recalls talking to the Ithorians about Zerka's impact. The future of the Telos restoration effort remains uncertain, especially after the destruction of Paragus.
We relied almost completely on Paragus for our fuel. It's hard to make up for a planet's worth of fuel exports. There's enough fuel in the reserves to keep Citadel Station from falling out of orbit, and for managing the restoration project, but not much more than that. If we can't find a new fuel source soon, we'll be in bad shape. The Republic's tight on credits right now, still recovering from the war. They're sparing all they can, but it's not enough.
It struggles to survive now. It is difficult to believe the Republic will be a match for the Sith that will inevitably come. Now, more than ever, she feels the weight on her shoulders. They must find the Ebon Hawk immediately to begin their search for the remaining Jedi and face this threat. And if the Ebon Hawk cannot be found, anything that flies will do.
There's the landing pad. There should be a computer terminal I can access from there. Looks like we're going to have to fight our way there, though. Look sharp.
As Beodur leads them to the Zerka site, they are immediately attacked. Fortunately, the defense team was a small one, allowing them to gain access to the shield grid.
Good. It's functional, and my passcodes still work. Now let's find your ship.
The TSF said the Ebon Hawk wasn't at any sanctioned landing site. It could be anywhere on the planet.
The TSF probably thinks the ship was put down in the wastes, but they don't know the planet as well as I do. Telos' atmosphere has been turned into acidic vapor. Landing a ship in the wastes would be like sealing it in a hangar full of hungry Minocs.
I'd say there's probably an illegal landing site somewhere then.
Still shielded, but not a restoration zone or other listed facility. That's why I need access to the shield network. Here, a small anomaly in the shield network's power grid. I'm not surprised the TSF didn't spot this. It's subtle, more like an error or random flux than anything suspicious. It looks like power is being drawn to generate a shield over a small area in the polar region, but nothing should be down there. Orbital cameras show nothing, just an empty mesa.
We should investigate this. I feel this is the best bet of finding the Ebon Hawk.
According to the computer, a shuttle is currently docked inside the research facility. At least there was at last report, though that was months ago. But that's not going to stop me. I'm getting back to Citadel if I have to build a new ship myself.
Accessing the old military base, they indeed find a docked shuttle, allowing them to depart this restoration zone and head to the anomaly located in the polar regions.
Egotistic praise. An excellent shot, even with the prevailing winds. I couldn't have done it better myself. Relieved statement. Oh, Jedi, it is good to see you intact. We were concerned that shooting down your shuttle would damage you irreparably. Quick clarification, but now that we have found you, we hope that we can facilitate communications. A necessary addendum. And put an end to hostilities. We merely wish to cripple your vessel. Once we tracked your coordinates, we were able to deploy several droids in this location.
Her assessment about multiple HK-50s appears to have been correct.
Chiding statement. Oh, Jedi. There are as many of us as are needed to capture or kill our targets. Egotistical boast. And there are far more of us than any one Jedi. Destroy one of us, and more shall rise from the wreckage. Unnecessary threat. And our attack protocols are more than a match for you and your allies.
Given her previous experience with HK units, asking questions will be a waste of time. And with the weather conditions in the area, she would rather speed up this encounter.
Probing query. We are, however, curious as to why you chose to come to the remnants of the polar Telos irrigation system. There is nothing here that our instruments can detect. Eager threat. But we are looking forward to extracting your motives for coming here when we place you in torture restraints. Statement. Self-destruct sequence. 3.
It is alarming how quickly the HK units extrapolated their location. They are gaining information more quickly than expected. There is no doubt more units will be coming after them. They will need to be dealt with at some point, somehow. On to a more pressing matter. Beodur was knocked out in the crash. The shuttle interior has transformed into a death trap. They must find refuge first before bringing him to safety. A single structure stands out in the distance. Upon approach, it seems to be a turbolift. Greetings, Historian. The next fragment of Meetra Surik, the complete story, will become available on the following date. You may, however, access this fragment earlier within the following timeframe through memberships. Note that the complete story is still under construction. As fragments are formed, they will be made available to you. At the time of this fragment's appearance, the completion of the full story is indicated below. These story fragments will try their hardest to arrive on the first Saturday of every month. And as streams also typically take place on Saturdays, join them to share your thoughts and opinions. There may be one taking place shortly after this video, so examine the top of the description for more information. The knowledge has been imparted to you. Upon our journey, the pieces shall fall into place.